last week I read a total of 7 volumes of manga, and surprisingly, I actually really enjoyed every single volume that I read. Normally that's not the case. Normally I typically like everything, but I can find faults in just about everything I read. Last week was special though. I really enjoyed everything I read. So let's talk a little bit about all of the volumes. The first volume that I read was volume 7 of my love story with Yamada-kun at level 999, or the Japanese title is Yamada-kun to level 999の恋をする. This is a romance series with 10 volumes in Japanese, and there's currently 5 volumes in English, with the 6th volume coming out, I think, sometime next year, which feels a little bit late. But I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. There is quite a bit of romance in this volume. I just really liked it. There was a lot of progression between Yamada and Akane in this volume. We see Akane staying, I think, for about a week at Yamada's house as he helps her fix a problem that she was going through. And it was just, you could see a lot of supportive boyfriend in this volume, and I just thought it was really sweet. I really like this volume specifically for studying Japanese. I don't want to show any spoilers. If we can see, there's no furigana, meaning there's no reading for the kanji. You just have to be able to read the kanji by itself. And normally with the romance manga that I read, typically everything is shoujo and it gives you the reading. So I can kind of turn my brain off and read, which is nice usually, but I do like this gives me a challenge that I do want to work through because I really want to know what happens. I'm at the point where it's not that much of a challenge. Sometimes the names are challenging because you have to kind of just memorize them. There's no trick to it, but I did really like this. So this was a really good volume. In terms of rating it, I do find the plot to be rather common. Like, I don't think it has the most out there plot in that it's not the most unique thing out there, especially in this volume. This volume is much more slice of life than anything else, but I enjoyed it. I do think it's enticing. Like, while it's not the most original thing out there, it's very well written, and I'm very attached to all of the characters, so I'm enjoying following it. And it's rather low stakes, so it's really nice. For the art, I do find the art beautiful, especially the cover. It's gorgeous. I do think the cover art tends to be nicer than the inside art, but I do feel like that's the case for just about every book out there nowadays. Would I reread it? Maybe in the future, but not now. I do think it was nice the first time around because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. The previous volume ended on a cliffhanger. This volume picked up from the cliffhanger and then solved what caused the cliffhanger. But because I already know what happened, I do feel like I want to give myself some space. I want to kind of forget what happened before I go back and reread it. And would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think it's really sweet. There's not a lot of tropes in this series, trying to think. It's like gamer boyfriend, older girlfriend, but it's not really tropey, which I do appreciate because just about everything I read nowadays is tropey. So I read volume 7 of Yamada-kun. Very good. The next one that I read is volume 3 of Watashi no koi no Hajimekata. This one I'm very surprised that in Kodansha's recent announcements, they didn't say anything about this series, which I found very surprising. They announced English releases coming next spring for just about all of their new really popular KC dessert series, except for this one. I don't know why. I really don't know why they chose Isso Anata ga Todome o Sashite over this one. I really don't. No hate to that series, but I do feel like this one would be more popular than that one. So I'm hoping it gets announced that it's been picked up pretty soon because it's such a sweet story. Volume 3, there are only 3 volumes out in Japanese right now, obviously sadly none in English, and it is a dessert manga. So this is a shoujo romance manga. This one is a high school romance, and while I'm trying to be picky about my high school romances, this is a very sweet series. There's not much of a story in terms of plot. The plot really is just two characters are in a relationship and they're cute. And I feel like that's enough. That's really all this series needs. The art itself is very, very cute. It's just a nice series overall. We follow a couple, a girl known as the Walking Matchmaker app who loves love and does her best to help other people find love. And this boy who found that intriguing, and then they fell in love, and this is their story. It's very cute. Volume 3 continues off of that plot, what little plot there is. Not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying there's not a whole lot of story. So is it original? It's cute. I don't think it's the most original series out there. Again, not a big story, but I'm not faulting it for that because it is so cute. And the cuteness itself is kind of original. The art is very unique, and the art really, really amps up the fluffiness of the cuteness of the relationship. Do I think I would reread it? Probably, just because it's so fluffy. There's so many cute scenes that I did enjoy rereading and rereading and rereading when I first read this volume. And obviously, I do recommend it. As far as tropes go, I think like he fell first and harder is probably the main trope in this one, but we don't know that until volume 2. So spoiler, it's a very, very slight spoiler warning. But yeah, that is volume 3 of Watashi no Koi no Hajimekata. I also read the third and final volume of Yonimo Kahogo na Mao-sama, which is this volume. This does have an English title, and the English title is The Demon King is Way Too Overprotective. And volume 1 is currently out in English, thankfully. This is a very, very cute series. It's about a girl who is cursed to eternally reincarnate, and the Demon King, who is in love with her and tries to find her in every life. I'm not going to spoil what happens in volume 3 because it does conclude the entirety of the story. I will say though, it concludes very, very, very well. We do learn a lot about this story. I do wish it was longer because a lot of the things that were brought to light and then also revealed in volume 3 could have spanned like 10 volumes, I think. And I would have never been bored. It's a very, very good series. I just wish it was longer. But going into my ratings and whatnot for this one, is the plot original? Yes, I do think it is original. I don't think it's the most original in that it's a reincarnation story and there's a million reincarnation stories out there right now. But this one does feel fresh. I do like the Demon King and in a past life Saintess romance. I think that's cute. And then, I don't want to spoil it, but there is a unique spin on the reincarnation tale that I think this book does very, very well. Personally, do I like the art? I do find the art to be rather unique. I didn't love it at first, but it grew on me rather quickly. I don't want to spoil it. If you take a look, specifically the way that the mangaka draws mouths, I found to be very distinct. And I grew to enjoy it very, very quickly. So I do like the art. Would I reread it? Probably. I do want to reread it now that I've finished the series and I know all of the secrets and whatnot. I do think there is merit in rereading the series. And I do recommend it. I do really enjoy it. And it's a short series. It's finished at 3 volumes. In terms of tropes, there are quite a few tropes. There are the soulmate tropes. Soulmates exist in this series. There are I'll find you in every life, which is very, very cute. I think those are the 2 big ones. And it's very sweet, very romantic. It does get a little heavy, like it does get heavier than a typical high school series would. So if you only like lighthearted high school series, I would not recommend this. But if you're looking for something a little bit more, I do. Moving on, I read volume 13 of Colette. This is my favorite series, that's no surprise. Currently, there are 4 omnis published in English for this series. I don't know when 5's coming out, hopefully soon. And this volume is finished in Japanese at 21 volumes if you include the Goddess edition, which I include because it's it's an extra volume. I'm not going to spoil what happens in this series, in this volume either, because a lot happens in this volume, and you really need to not know what happens. You really need to go in, not blind, but I recommend not looking up spoilers so that you can enjoy the series. In terms of my ratings, is it constantly engaging? Absolutely. I'm always on the edge of my seat. I love every single character in this whole series. Even the side characters grow to be incredibly endearing so quickly. Like, I don't love mascot characters. Like, I couldn't finish playing Persona because Morgana bothered me so much that I couldn't finish it. And Colette does have a mascot character, and when it was first introduced, I was terrified because I grew to love the series so much, and I was scared that it would ruin it for me. But if anything, it made it better because the author is just that talented at writing endearing characters. Is it original? I find it very original. This is the first different take on Greek mythology that I found. So to me, this was so fresh and so unique. So I really love it. For the art, I love it. I love everything about it. I'll show a little spin or a little page of the art. It definitely feels like an older shoujo, but I like older shoujo. So that's just another good point for me. In terms of lore, there is quite a bit of lore, and every single volume slowly introduces more and more to you. It's never a front load of information, which I really appreciate. Would I reread it? I've already reread this volume, if I'm being honest. It was a very good volume. And do I recommend it? Obviously, this is the one series. If I could only recommend one series to people, it would be this one, because this is my favorite. In terms of tropes, this one, I wouldn't say this is the most tropey. It has themes of the importance of hard work and friendship and found family. So everybody's very kind to each other. Everybody's always pushing each other to be their best. It's a very kind series. The only other super duper kind series that I can think of is Snow White with the red hair, but I find them to be not at all comparable. In Colette, there are no villains, I would say. Yeah, there's no villains. It's just a very lighthearted story. It's very nice. The next series that I read is Volume 3 of Spring, Storm, and Monster, or Haru no Arashi to Monster. In Japanese, there are 8 volumes out. In English, there are currently 3, so this is the last one that's out in English right now. But Volume 4 is coming out in October. I really enjoyed this series. I liked everything I read this week. I really like this author's art style. Even just looking at the cover, you can kind of tell. I have 3 of their works, and I'm enjoying 2 of them so far. I have not started the 3rd. Here's a little peek at the art. It's beautiful. And it's very unique. You can always tell it's her work. This author likes to tell stories in a very unique way about very unique characters. While they are all different, you can absolutely tell that they're by the same author, which I like. I like that she has a style to her. Spring, Storm, and Monster specifically tells the story of a troublesome boy who finds himself adopted into a family that really wants to help him become a better person. And because he's so untrusting, he doesn't really accept their help at first, but then he slowly learns to accept their help. He is rather childish and treats his new stepsister rather inappropriately, in that he doesn't like her having friends that are not him. It's a good series. It's a really good series. It's very fun. I don't know. I like it. I do find the plot to be constantly engaging just because I never know what he's going to do next. I find it very fun. In all of her series, I don't know what any of the characters are going to do next. And I am very excited to continue reading on. I have the first 5 volumes, so I'm going to be quickly reading on. I do really enjoy the art. I think the art is probably the thing I like most about this series. I think I like the art more than I like the stories, if I'm being honest. Would I reread it? Probably not. While I do really enjoy it, I do feel like it's the kind of series that you read once and then you know what happens and it's done. There's no fluff. This is more of a dramatic series than anything else. To me, there's no romance, even though this is a romance manga. And there shouldn't be romance. It should be a family manga. Would I recommend it? Honestly, yes, because I do find this series to be very, very fun. It's a really good read. I like it. In terms of tropes, this one isn't really tropey. There's a lot of like, you have me so you don't need anybody else kind of attitude from him to his stepsister, which is entertaining for the reader, but probably terrifying for the stepsister. That's probably the main trope. I wouldn't say there's any common romance tropes in this one. Yeah, that's volume 3 of Spring, Storm, and Monster. I read volume 2 of The Worst Witch in the World, or Sekai de Ichiban Warui Majo. This one is quickly becoming one of my new favorite series. It is about a girl who wants to be known as the worst witch in the world, but is carrying a secret, and a man who is a scholar, and the scholar hires the witch for her to be his bodyguard so that he can successfully gain letters of recommendation, visit a library, and get his research officially published. That's the overall premise of the story. She's hiding a big secret, he's hiding a lot of secrets, and they both know that the other is hiding secrets. It's just a great series. She's pretending to be 300 years old when she's actually 16. He's 19, and he says he's 19. There is a bit of romance between the two of them. It's very slow burn though. This series in total has 7 volumes. I only have the first 6. And in volume 2, we can see that the romance is very slowly starting to creep up. And I really love that. I love a good slow burn. I don't want them to be dating from page 1. That wouldn't be realistic. I like that slowly more things are getting revealed about the two of them, and they're learning more about each other. It's very nice. In volume 2, we see some jealousy from him towards her. We do see, it's a common shoujo trope, and I did see people complaining about it, but personally I didn't really care, where she says her big secret out loud to her pet when she didn't think anybody was around, and someone overheard her, but we don't know who. And she's freaking out thinking, who overheard me saying my secret out loud? People don't like it because, like, realistically, you're not going to say your secret out loud if it's a big secret. But I didn't mind it at all because it was a moving device for the plot. I feel like it was a necessary evil. It didn't bug me. I let it go. I read on. I enjoyed the series. I am enjoying the series. I enjoyed this volume. It did not bother me. In terms of how I rate it, I do find this to be very unique. I love a good romantasy, and this one is doing so well on the fantasy aspect. In a good romantasy book, I need both fantastical elements, good storytelling, and good romance. And I'm finding a lot of the romantasy books to be straight romance, like just kind of set in a world where there is magic, but you don't see it because it's all about the romance. I want a fantastical romance in a fantastical world is what I want. And that is what this is giving me, at least the beginnings of it. And I'm really enjoying it. So I really, really enjoy it. It's so good. Yeah. Do I like the art? I really do like the art. I find it also to be very unique. The characters all have very round faces. I do also really like the character design. Is there a lot of lore in this series? There is so much lore, and this is another one where it doesn't really tell you about the lore. It's a show and not tell, which I like because, again, in my manga, I don't want walls and walls of text explaining the backstory. I want to be shown the backstory. Even if it is through dialogue, I just don't want walls and walls of dialogue. I want to be shown, you know, I can comprehend things when I see them. I don't need them spelled out for me. And that's what this one does with the lore, and I really respect it. Would I reread it? Yes, but I'm thinking I'll reread it after I've read the whole series. And do I recommend it? Absolutely. If you want a good fantasy romance series, I absolutely recommend this one. In terms of tropes, obviously there's the I told my secret out loud and somebody overheard me, oh no trope. That's a really big one. There's, I don't know, she's pretending to be inexperienced, or she's pretending to be experienced, and he thinks she's experienced, but really she's inexperienced, and she gets really, really flustered at everything, which is a little bit tropey, I think, but it doesn't bother me at all. But I don't find there to be too many tropes, at least that I can think of. Like, they're not enemies, they do share a bed, but it's not like, it doesn't fit into a trope. Literally, they just sleep, and we're not even shown them sleeping on the same bed. Which I like. I don't want there to be too many tropes in my shoujo manga. The last series that I read is Otaku Vampire's Love Bite, or Oshi ni Amagani. In English, this series has 4 volumes currently released. In Japanese, it has 8 volumes currently released. And I read volume 3. I think I have the first 7 volumes, so I really do need to catch up. I love this series. This is a series about a vampire otaku who comes to the human world specifically so that she can do otaku activities, and I find it so cute. It's a very feel-good series. The stakes are always pretty low, even when there's like a big bad character and they come to wreak havoc. It's settled in like 2 seconds, and even then the stakes are not low. Like, you're never fearing for anybody, which I really, really like. It's a cute series. I really do like the art, and it's by Julieta Suzuki, who wrote Kami-sama Kiss, so you know it's going to be a fantastic series. I really like the series. For my ratings and whatnot, is the plot original? I think so. I've never read anything similar, so to me, this is an incredibly, incredibly original story. And it's also constantly engaging. I'm always having fun with it. I do find sometimes I get a teeny tiny bit frustrated with her character, just like the tiniest bit, and it goes away in like a second. Am I excited to continue reading on? Obviously, I really like the series. The art, beautiful, and I do find it unique enough. Rather than the character designs, though, I find the mood setting to be pretty unique. The author does a really good job of utilizing like all black backgrounds specifically in order to paint a darker mood, which I do find very unique to this series. Would I reread it? Maybe after a while, but I'm not planning on rereading it now. This isn't a fluffy series. Well, I'm pretty sure it's technically romance. This is more fantasy friendship than any romance, at least at volume 3. Maybe romance does develop later. There is absolutely no romance in this volume, which I do, if it is a slow burn, which it very well might be, I do appreciate it, because we do see our 2 main characters growing a little bit closer in this volume, which was very nice to see. But yeah, absolutely no romance. The plot was fun, but I know what happens. I don't think there's anything that I really want to reread in this specific volume. I will say there are also a couple really, really funny moments in this one. So rather than like a rom-com, I would say it's like a slice of life comedy, specifically in this volume. Do I recommend it? I really, really do. I really, really like the series. It's a fun, feel-good series. I think just about anybody would enjoy this series. In terms of tropes, there's not really any tropes. Like, she is rather overprotected, but she's also very strong, so it doesn't really cause any negatives in her personality, as far as I can tell. I really liked it. And that's everything I read. I did read quite a bit. I had been in a bit of a reading slump just because I had no time to read with my job. So now that I have time to read, I'm trying to read everything that I can while I still have time.